all. Happy Thursday. Thanks so much for joining me here tonight. We are going to continue stitching the Embroidery of the Month. This is the Bride of Frankenstein's Bouquet. So thanks again for joining me. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for the beginning crafter. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's a time that we can relax and craft together for about an hour. So thanks again. We are stitching the Bride of Frankenstein's Bouquet. So a fun Halloweeny design. We have a bundle available with the black version with that black fabric in there. I'm loving it. All right, let's cruise on these stitches. We have done every stitch in this design so far, and now it's just like, let's get it done. Let's go for speed here. So thanks again for joining me. Nice to see you. All right, hello. I did make it here, you guys. I was a little late. Our meeting ran a little long, so I'm glad you are popping in here yet. Let's scooch down, see what we got going on here. So again, oh, Sylvia, I don't know if you're still on YouTube, but I am here now. All right, so I have my iPad open again with the pattern. This is the digital pattern. It comes with the bundle, and you can also get it by itself, but I always have it open here. You can print it out too, but I like having it just digitally, and I look at it just to see what colors to use and what stitches to use. So I'm just gonna, just so you know, I always have that near me, and that's what I keep referring to. Here again is the black one, which I think turned out so cute. And I just wanted to see what do the same colors look like on a light colored background too. So this isn't quite white. This is an unbleached cotton, so it's got little specks. It's kind of a cream color, and I think that'll be nice because later we will stitch white on it, and I think it'll be subtle, but it'll be a little bit of a difference. So all right. Let's do it. Okay, so we left off last night. We did the stem stitch of the stem here with the split stitch of some of these leaves and the thorns. I think let's just crank through this side over here, right? So I think, well, why don't we start here? Why don't I do just a quick couple stem stitches to here. We'll do some quick couple stem stitches back down. And then we'll stem stitch up to here, get this little thorn, and then stem stitch the rest of it, and then work on our leaves there. That sounds like a great path. I always kind of like mapping it out beforehand. So I do have some thread from last night yet. We're doing that doubling up loop method to get our 2 strands, and we got an extra long strand to do that with because we will be dividing it in half. Oh yes, Galena. Yep. Last night I mentioned I was going to be possibly a little bit late. I am actually way earlier here than I thought I was going to be tonight. So we almost get like a whole session in here. So I'm super duper happy about that. So let's get this all conditioned here. My yummy smelling thread conditioner. Okay. So like I said, my path is up, down, up, and then up. And I think by then I'll for sure be out of thread. Okay, so what did I say? Up, down. All right, let's start here. So I have that loop on the one side. We've been doing the loop method with these 2 strands. So I'm going to just start by, I don't know, making my big stitch. And instead of usually for a stem stitch, I'd come up right away, but I need to grab that loop still. So I'm going to go down here, but I'm actually going to put my finger here so this loop doesn't completely, on the front, doesn't go completely all the way down. Oh, and I'm going to pull this tight until I just have that little loop. I'm going to put my needle through there. And then I'm going to come to this side again while I still have this loop down here for the stem stitch. And now I can pull it all the way through. This loop on the back is holding things in place. Easy peasy. I am loving that. Oh, that is good news. Rebecca got a new coffee maker. Yep. You didn't waste any time to do that. That's good. Oh, yep, Sylvia, tomorrow I might only be on YouTube. So we're weather pending still, I suppose. Planning on. Uh-oh, my needle just broke, you guys. Let's grab another one quick. Let's get Zeb here. But I am planning on being visiting my parents this weekend, so I will be on location at their place again, and I think I can only really run one of these things at a time on location. So I will be just on just on YouTube tomorrow, probably. Okay, I'm going to finish this up. I'm not really liking this needle either. I want to find just the right needle here. I got some older needles here. All right, let's do the next little stem. Okay, Catherine's asking how long did I make the thread this method. So I just did about, I'm just kind of estimating, but I estimated about twice as much as I usually do. So I usually do from like 18 to 24 inches. This looks like divided in half, it's probably about 18. So double that. So what's that, 36? So double what you would normally do, because you are going to fold it and ultimately get to what your normal length that you're used to is. So I just, double your normal length. So I normally do that, like I said, the 36 to, the 18 to 24 inches. So I would do double that. And I was just guessing. Okay, just because I'm in the middle of the hoop here and there's not a lot for me to grab on, I'm going to do the stabbing method. Not my favorite for the stem stitch. But as long as I just go down and come back up before pulling this all the way through, then it's actually not that hard. And one more. Great. Now let's jump up here. So again, I think I'm going to go zoop. Then we'll get that little thorn on the way back, and then maybe I'll jump. No, we'll do a couple stitches, do that thorn, and then go like the rest of the way. That sounds good. Oh yes, Sylvia, I will definitely toss the broken parts. So here's what I do, just so you guys can see, because it took me a long time to figure this out. It just seems so silly, but I put all my old needles and my bad pins and everything like that. I just put it in this little Jerry's honey jar. So I would just, if you break a needle, if you break a pin or bend a pin, or my old sewing needles, I put those all in this jar and I just have it around, and then, I don't know, I suppose I just throw it away like this eventually. But that's what I do. I used to kind of like tape cardboard around broken pins and needles and stuff, but that just, that always kind of still made me nervous, because it could just fall out or something. And then I'm like, I should just put this in a jar. And I'm like, this is the best idea ever. So that's what I do with all my sharps, basically. Plop them in there. All right, I think we're going to go all the way to the top here. I am putting kind of a lot of force on the needle by having this tight hoop and going in and out. This would have been easier without the hoop, all these stitches, I think. All right, stem stitch done on that guy. Now let's just quickly do a couple little split stitches, little baby size split stitches. Trying to stab that. Ugh, didn't quite get it. There we go, right in the middle of the two threads. So yeah, the split stitch, you're basically making a stitch and then coming up somewhere in the middle, just stabbing through the two threads. Makes that really pretty organic line, I think. All right, we do not have much more of this thread, so I'm gonna see if I can maybe, well, let's see, how much do I really have? Ugh. I'm gonna see how far up this stem I can get. And then if I run out, I'll just run out. But then I'll come back with the next thread, get this guy, then I'll get all these other little stems. And then we got all these little leafy guys to do yet. Yeah, I'm doing the stabbing method. Yeah, I don't think we'll make it the whole way here. The whole way up with this stitch. Really, all these stitches that I used in this, except for the split stitch, uses hardly any thread at all. But the chain stitch and the stem stitch, they kind of suck up the thread really quick. I think this is actually, this is gonna be my last stitch here. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll try and maybe I can squeeze out these little stem stitches. Actually, this is so little. I'm gonna just do one long stitch for this. This is about the size of my stitches, this thorn, so we're just gonna do two quick stitches. I think that's plenty fine, and we'll weave in this end and start fresh. Oh yes, that's true. It is the presidential debate, so I'm going to have to get an update on that, but I have a hard time watching that in real time. I will look back at it later. I just came out of a stressful meeting. I don't need to like start a new one. So I will be paying attention to that one tomorrow. All right, let's get the rest of this. Okay, so Lisa's saying, question, I embroidered a splendid sampler 2 block using muslin. Now I'm thinking the muslin is thin. Can I add something to the back of the muslin? The block is done now. You could. My guess is you're probably fine and don't actually need a backing because ultimately you will be sandwiching it into the quilt. So the batting will be on the back. And you'll be like quilting it, so it'll all be attached. But if you wanted to, you could put in like a fusible interfacing on the back. I know a lot of people like doing that. I don't have a good recommendation for that. That's a world I'm learning about still, all the different interfacings. But yeah, that would add some sturdiness to the back, but you probably really don't need it. But if you want it to feel, like if you have other blocks that use a more substantial fabric and you want the muslin, if it's really light, if you want that to feel the same, then you could put just a fusible interfacing on the back. All right, starting this up again. So I left off kind of in the middle of this stitch. So I'm going to try and shush this stitch out of the way so I can come up in the center there. There we go. All right, I need a plan though. should I think I'm going to go all the way up to the top, just continuing this line. Then I'll stitch around this leaf and then see where to go next. I'll see how much floss I have left at that point. Oh yeah, I'm doing this loop on the back, so I'm going to hold my finger here while I pull this loop through. All right, let's go into that loop. All right, and now come up for that first stitch, and we should be able to just pull this tight. There we go. Back looks good, front looks good. Let's keep going. Ooh, Marianne on Facebook said, I delivered a finished quilt today. Oh, on to the next UFO. If you guys haven't heard that term before, that is a common term, at least in quilty land, UFO for like unfinished object, really. So basically any project that isn't done yet, that's sitting around, those are your UFOs. That's awesome. That's always a great feeling. First of all, that you dropped it off somewhere, like whoever's getting it or whatever, that I'm sure they're very happy with it. So that's always really awesome to be a part of. And then getting an unfinished object done, getting one of those UFOs out of the way, that is always a huge win. Rebecca, we are definitely taking that into concern. So we will not be doing anything while we're there. We've been, well, just so you guys know, so the only people we have seen is Jenna, who works with me in the office, and we wear N95 masks with tape all around so no air can get out. So, and we're in a big warehouse, so that's the only person I see. And then we just drop off some stuff to some of our kit makers, and that's just a quick exchange outside with masks. And so we feel like we are pretty isolated and at least don't have symptoms of COVID or anything like that. So we are hoping that that's the case, that we are not going to be bringing it to my parents. But yes, we are definitely concerned, and my parents heavily wear masks, especially compared to most in Wisconsin, and they do just all curbside pickup and that sort of thing too. So we like both parties, me and my parents, feel like we're doing the best that we can with that. But yes, there's always that risk, and we think about that a lot, actually. And I don't know. We don't know what to do. It's a tough decision every time we go there. Luckily, we usually do a lot of outside stuff, but yes. But it sucks. We have not gone and done anything. Our poor pizza place. All the fun places all the people we used to see and the fun places we gotta go. And, actually, like all, the employees that worked with us, like we don't have anybody anymore. So that's why this is the best time of day, you guys. Then I get to be by people at least a little bit. But yes, and then we make one stop on the way to their house because we need one gas fill up. Oh, and then we have those bleach towels or whatever. What are those? The like whatever, that you pull out of the tube and it's got the bleach all over it. We have those in the car, so John wipes everything down before he gets gas, and then we wipe our hands off and wash our hands after we're done. And we found the gas station with the least amount of people. When we drove one other time, we could not believe how many non-mask people were just filling up like this Quick Trip and stuff, and we're like, nah, we're not going here. These people are crazy. So we are definitely of the mask wearing ilk, and there's definitely a lot of people in Wisconsin that aren't, and it worries us for sure, because we have tons and tons of family there. I think some people do a good job at it and others don't, and it's scary. And then John's extended family is from North Dakota, which is also like the worst place right now too. So Wisconsin and North Dakota are, I don't know. I don't like it one bit. But man, it'd be awesome to go to some of our restaurants again, and I don't know. I feel like we're all just got our low-level anxiety that we are just trying to sit through and hope it goes away. Anyway. Oh, well, that's good to know. Lynn says lots of mask wearing here in southern Wisconsin. So southern Wisconsin, close to Chicago, you got Madison, you got Milwaukee, all the larger cities seem to be doing it okay as far as masks go. But a little farther north, I don't know, not so good. Different for sure. Very different than cities. Oh, that's interesting. Lynn says that her art students are working on designing their own masks. They're doing a great job. Oh, that's fun. So is it like a design course? Like, are they going to be doing like a print on demand for them when they're done? Because that'd be pretty cool. That's exciting. Yes, so just to add on to that answer of going to Wisconsin, the cases are crazy, going up, and no one hardly wears masks. Luckily, we will not be seeing any of those people because we will not be going anywhere except for that one gas station that has nobody at it, and that will be in and out with a mask on. So it's a risk for sure, but that's what we're doing about the risk. Ugh, Nolene says barely anyone wears a mask in Australia. I don't know, to me here it seems like a urban versus rural thing to some extent. Oh, fun. So Lynn says our principal had about 4,000, cloth masks. It's a lot. Middle school art students. Oh, how fun. Middle school art students are using fabric markers. Ugh! That sounds like fun. I would have liked that class. All right, I'm out of thread again. Let's weave this in. And, I think I'm completely out of those long pieces of thread. I'm going to have to get whole new pieces because I do have some to do yet. I have the rest of these leaves, and then I have that little, there's some stems too. So a few more stems, and like there's stems at the bottom here, and then there's that fallen leaf. So there's enough to get more floss. I think maybe I will just get the nice long pieces again, just because it's fun, even though I know I won't use it all, but oh well. Looking pretty on the back. Nice and delicate on the back. I like that. Okay, so let's start fresh. So let's get our, double the 18. So here's how you can do it, just to, instead of like getting like double your thread this way, fold it in half already. And find like a size that kind of works for you. So that's about my 18 inches. I'm going to snip it right there. And, then when you unfold it, it'll be that super long piece. Oh, Lisa says masks are mandatory in all shops and schools in Canada. So that is a state by state thing here, it seems. And actually, even more, it's like not even a state by state, it is like a county and town by town thing, it seems like. Like the rules for one town here are different for another town. It's kind of, I don't know, crazy, I think, but whatever, I don't know. Yes, there's different needs for different places for sure, but I think in shops, uh, in Minnesota here, I think we're a little stricter than other states. Actually, I know we are, and I think masks are mandatory in shops here as well. Oh, Lisa, thanks. Lisa says, "Wow, your back looks as good as the front of the pattern." That is why I love all these no knot methods, because I feel like when you get the knots on the back, like if you start your piece with a knot, then you have the little fluffs from the end of the knot, and you have like loops that get stuck on the knot that you didn't know about till way later. I'm actively not doing giant jumps, like I'm not starting to stitch here and then I'm going over here, so you have a big line on the back. I'm avoiding kind of all those things that can make it a little bit messy, but I think the big thing is the weaving in the ends, and now this new little loop method cleans it up nicely as well. Where did I leave off? Right here. I think I'm going to start up on this side, because then I'll be closer to doing this. So, okay, how far up did I go? Okay, I think I just need to go about right here. Okay, so Sylvia says that, oh, I missed it. They have just a way that it's different for every school too. It's just fascinating. And it's hard because, those schools don't know what to do. There's no, it's just whoever is in charge wants to do for that school, it sounds like. I'm just reading your comments about it. Yeah, live in a small town with people out and shopping. Yeah, I go to Austin to visit your son every Saturday, and cases are high there too. Yes, take water in a cooler and lunch from here. Yeah, yeah, we don't do any eating out, whether it's outside or not. We actually still wipe down all our groceries and stuff too when they come in. We do the bleach water and wipe it all down. I really, really, really do not want it or want to give it to anybody, so we are risking going to see my parents, but we're hoping on both ends that we're doing a good job. We've not seen any friends or any other family. It sucks. Oh, that's good, Lynn. Lynn says, my principal wants to make sure everyone has a mask, but the parents have been great sending their kids to school with a mask. That's awesome. At least in my head, I think that's awesome. Alright, I think I'm just going to split this, just going down right in the middle here. I think that, maybe that looks weird. I came up from the other side on this. I'm not going to bother with it. I started one direction and then I came back around the other direction. I think maybe it looks weird, but I don't know. You can't tell anything. I'm being crazy. All right, I'm going to go behind these stitches and come back up here. So I could just jump. So here's what I'm saying. I could just jump right there, and normally I think I would. This is hardly any jump at all. But if I have the option and a lot of thread to go in the back of some stitches, I'll go down here first, and then travel back up here to where the start of the line is. Then I avoid that like leap across, and especially large leaps. Like I wouldn't want to go from here to here, this other gray area, because then I'd have this long line here that could get tangled in other stuff, and you might be able to see that long line on the back. So I do try and kind of travel along the backs of stitches when I can. And that's another thing that kind of keeps it nice and clean on the back here. Ooh, it really is looking nice. You can see what the colors are looking like here. Everything's going to be a lot more delicate on the back here because our stitches are a lot fatter than what they are on the back. All right, I guess we got like one little stem stitch here, really, maybe two, and then a split stitch of that. We still have this all split stitch, and then we got a couple of these little bottom stems to do. So a little bit more. We're getting there though. Be awesome to get going on this bow yet today, but I don't know. It's kind of a lot of this gray to do yet. But that'll be it for the gray once we're done with all these little leaves and stems. I guess let's go up the middle here. So I'm doing that split stitch again. I mean, you could do all this with stem stitch. Stem stitch is very pretty. I think it could be a little difficult around tight curves like this. I think it's fun to play with a few different stitches though. Hello, Maru. Oh, yes. So Linda says, take a picture of my mom's granny square quilt. I think she posted it in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group, but I'll snap a pic if I see it sitting around. I'll have to look at it too, because I'm excited to see it in person, so I'll take another little photo. Ugh, it is really pretty too. I shared it last time I visited, and she was still working on the blacks, and she was doing that strip method of sewing all the strips together at once. But I loved I hope she still has it, but I love the that she used that like greeting card as inspiration colors, and it shows for sure. Like you can totally tell that, oh yeah, that's where you got your colors from, and it looks awesome. Like I think that is such a fabulous way of choosing colors for a project. I mean, that would be a reason to like hang on to little paper knickknacks like that. Like if you get a card or something, anything, something from a shop or whatever that you just love the color scheme of it, like, oh man, these colors are the best things ever, like save that, or even like put it by your fabric as a reminder, like, hey, you should do something with this color palette. I think that's a great idea. It turned out so pretty. So she's waiting on me to do the border, so I am hoping that we can get going on that border. I know we're not quite done with all the blocks yet, but I think we might start the border next month for the granny square quilt. First week of November is when we'll work on that. All right, a couple more stitches, and then I think I'll just end this floss. It'll be easier to just start a whole new piece in the other areas. Oh, my mom said that she actually, I talked to her last night. We've been doing a whole lot of more Zoom meetings, though, so that's oh gosh, at least we live in a time when we can't see anybody in person, or very limited, that there's at least Zoom and video and social media and, texting and, at least all those things exist. So if it would happen anytime, at least it's now. All right. Yes. So Lisa's asking what project I'll be doing next Monday. I will be starting the Aurifil block of the month, and my hope. So if you can go to Aurifil the Aura Buzz is their blog, and that will have the link to the blog post that has the free pattern for October in. And I looked at the pattern, and it's kind of like it's just like a pieced block. So like your squares, your triangles, sewing them all together to make a fun, square triangle design, star-like design. I'm hoping that doesn't take all week, because it would be great to finish this, because I don't think we're going to finish this in one more day, and take off all the stick and stitch and stuff. I think we need like one more day on it. And I really want to stitch one of those Tyrannosaurus outfits too. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about there, I think I have it by me here. So I have our Tyranno kit, and now I made this cute thing the other like last week or 2 weeks ago, where now when you get the kit, you'll also get the downloadable pattern of like the way you can dress him up. So you'll get like little shoes and a coat and a mask. He's got a mask and different hats, scarves, little mittens, some sunscreen. So you can basically dress up. You put this design down first, and then you can put all those designs on top and make like a bunch of different dudes. So I thought it would be really fun to give this a go too. I'm like itching to stitch one of those. So I'm hoping that our week goes so quick. Like we sew that Aurifil block up super duper quickly. I don't know if that's actually going to be the case, but that's the hope. And then that we'll have time to play around with some of these other little fun embroideries, like finishing this up, which I think will just take a day in theory. And then Siri's trying to talk to me. And then try and do like a day of that Tyranno. Maybe just even transferring the design and starting to do a little bit of the stitching would be fun. But yep, first of all, we will be working on the Aurifil quilt block of the month. Right? Hey, we finished all that. I'm going to get this leaf. If you wanted this to be less Halloween-y, I've said this before, you can delete, like just don't stitch. You can stick this down still, and this will just dissolve if you don't stitch it. So you could get rid of get rid of this line, get rid of the spider, get rid of the spider web, and you could also get rid of this fallen leaf here. And then it would just look like a pretty bouquet. So that's an option. You could even get rid of the thorns if you really wanted to. All right, let's, I think, start on this little outer leafy shape. So I'm still doing the stem stitch, but we're doing that loop method still, because we're still using the 2 strands. Man, this is a reason to do 2 strands more often, just to use that loop method. That's pretty slick. So you can only do it with even numbered pieces like that you can make a loop out of. You can't really do a loop out of 3 strands. Well, you could, but it would end up being 6 strands. You could take 3 strands, fold it in half, and do 6 strands. That's actually a technique. If you did want to stitch with 6 strands, so instead of actually putting 6 strands right from your skein into your needle, which would then double it up over the top of your needle, like, for example, I have the thread through my needle here, right? So when I put it together like this, there's actually like 4 strands up here. If you do 6 strands, like if I wanted to stuff all 6 strands to make a really fat line, when I double it up like this, just for this little tail area, that's going to be 12 strands, which is a ton. So there's actually a method. It's a little different than this, but it's still another method where you fold it in half. But then you'd actually fold it in half at the needle like this. So now I would start and I'd have 4 strands that I'd stitch with, or if you did 3 strands, you'd have 6 strands here to stitch with, and you would just have the loop on this side by your needle. So that's another way to like halvesy it up, like doubling up the threads without having it be extra thick at the needle, if that makes sense. A little bit different than what we're doing here because we're doing that loop method. But anyway, this doubling up method, there's other opportunities for that. Oh, Amy, I'll give that a try afterwards. For some reason, it just pops on every once in a while. Oh, that was a little wide. Let's see if I can stab it still. There we go. I feel like this is a split stitch is kind of like a stem stitch that you made a mistake on. It's like you didn't get the loop down enough and you ended up catching the thread instead. That's kind of what a split stitch is. An unfortunate stem stitch. Oh, you know what, you guys? There was a whole nother way to do this stem stitch. I'm gonna show you it right here. Here is a trick to do a stem stitch, but way easier. I think we were calling it like a stabbed back stitch. So I'm gonna make a back stitch here. But instead of going into the same hole like I normally would, I'm going to go back a little bit farther and stab through the split stitch. I just realized, like, oh, I'm having some trouble, like, coming up through through the split stitch sometimes. But then I'm like, oh yeah, there's this method. So all right, again, I'm going to do, instead of a split stitch where I'd come up right through it from the back right here, I'm going to, I don't know if you guys can see. There, we'll get a little closer. I'm going to do a back stitch. So I'm going to come here. We'll do a little shorter back stitch. And instead of going right through to here, I'm going to go a little farther and stab through the top of the last stitch. So basically the difference is instead of stabbing from underneath, which is pretty difficult to do, you can stab from the top, which is easy because I can see the needle. I can just stab right in there. Ooh, Maru is embroidering a candy skull toddler. Fun. You'll have to share in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group. I'd love to see on Facebook. Man, I did all of these without doing this like stabbed back stitch. This would have been a lot easier, although it is wasting more thread doing it this way, and I can show you on the back. So half of this is done with this, like this back stitch, stabbed back stitch, and half is done with the splits, like the true split stitch. I'll show you how much thread this uses compared to the split stitch. All right, that's that. Let's flip. Yeah, see, so here we go. This is where I did the back stitch, the stabbed back stitch. Look at all this thread here, whereas the split stitch, I just am using just barely any, right? So this uses actually quite a bit more. So that'd be a reason to maybe not do it this way, to stick to your normal split stitch. But I'm telling you, it's a bit easier to do that back stitch that stabs into it. So whatever you're feeling that day, or if you're just if the split stitch is just being troublesome, then switch into this stabbed back stitch is a good method. All right, I don't think this is going to get me very far with stem stitching, so I'm going to just toss that. We are almost done. We just have, with the gray, we just have these little bits here, so let's map it out. I could start... Suppose we could just do that. I'll have a little jump here, which I'm not wild about, but we could go start here, go up, then down, and then do a little jump. Ugh, do I really want to do that jump? Man, I can tell that it's getting late because I get picky. I get pickier on this stuff. I think I'm going to go up and down, and you know what? I think I'm going to travel to the back and then go down here again just so I don't have a jump there, and then I'm going to have to travel again and then go down here again. So I'm going to be a little picky here. On the black, if I did it here, I wouldn't care at all because you wouldn't see, on the back of the black, you're not going to see, or on the front, you're not going to see any of the stitches popping through from the back, but on this light color, I might see this dark thread. And this is actually why some people like embroidering with some sort of stabilizer behind it, because it will hide your stitches a little bit more so you can kind of jump all over the place. But I don't know. I don't like doing that as much. There we go. So I said here, all stem stitches. But let's grab that loop. All right, and I missed that loop here, so I'm gonna have to shimmy it down with my finger a little bit. This is why I hated stem stitching. It's because this is what I thought it was. It's like trying to get up there, but really, you want to not do the full, you want to go like in and out at the same time and have this loop underneath. Then it becomes super easy. And even if you do the stabbing method, you go down, and you don't wait till this is pulled all the way tight. You go up now, and then you pull tight. Those were keys to the stem stitch that I did not know when I started, and made me, like, I still feel nervous about the stem stitch because of that, even though I've figured it out now. All right, so, oh, here's a trick. So stem stitch, you know, I'm ending right here, but I also need to start in that same hole basically to go down this row. So how do you do that, right? I can't just go in that same hole because I'll pull this last stitch out. So a trick, and you might have this problem with other stitches as well. So a trick would be to go onto the back and actually loop under the last stitch that you did. And then you can come back up in that same hole because you're going to be looped around that last stitch. So now I can come up in that same hole, or just about that same hole, and my last stitch is not going to pop out because I'm actually wrapped around a stitch here. So that might come in handy at some point. I think there's a few other stitches that I've had to do that with before, but for sure on the stem stitch. I'm still doing the stabbing method. It's just easier for me when I'm in a hoop here. Oh, yay, Maru! I can't wait to see it. Oh man, you guys, I might have to do a whole nother piece of thread to finish all these. Like I said, these stem stitches kind of use up a bunch of thread, and I am going to travel to the back to get back up there. So I'm just going to grab a few stitches. There we go. And now I'm going to start the next. That didn't waste that much thread. I'm still not going to have enough for all this. Oop, let's go this way. I might get this one done, and I'm going to have to get another piece just for that tiny thing there. Oh wait, you know what? I'm totally missing the spider. The spider is this dark color too. All right, so I still do have more dark dark gray. I was thinking I'm done with the dark gray, but I'm not. I have that whole spider to do. So I guess I probably won't work on him tonight anymore, but we'll finish this last little stem over here at least. Oh man, do I have enough thread, do I think? Let's risk it. I'm gonna jump back to the top here. Through the backs of some stitches. I'm gonna see if I can make it down this stem. I kind of don't think I'm gonna make it though, which is gonna suck, but oh well. Oh yeah, this is gonna be tough. I think maybe I'll make my stitches a little bit smaller on the coming back. Oh, maybe I'll have just enough. Yeah, I'm kind of making my stitches a little bit bigger. And I'm not going back as far. I'm not going like back this far. I'm just kind of going a little further back. I think that'll save me some floss. We are going to totally win Thread Chicken for the night. Perfect. That is a win. All right. Awesome. Let's weave in that end. And our flowers are done. Great. So maybe we'll just still move on to the bow next, just because I really want to work on the bow, and then we'll kind of get a sense of what it'll look like without the spider and the web, just kind of by looking at the back. So I think that might be kind of fun. So let's even though I still have some of this dark gray to do yet, that spider's dark gray, I still want to do the bow next. So I think this is how we will end it tonight, and tomorrow, in theory on location, at least that's what it's standing as right now, I will be doing it just on YouTube. So tomorrow I'll probably only be on YouTube, and assuming that's working. If not, then I'll be on Facebook. So if the YouTube isn't working, just check Facebook instead. And we'll be working on the bow, which is, it's not really pink, it's this tan color, but just because we're using so much other grays, and this is like it's really almost a pop of color. Whereas, if you saw this in like all my bright colors of thread and stuff, like if you saw it with this, then it's kind of just tan. It's just like a neutral tan. But when you have it with a whole pile of other just even more neutral grays, then it almost is like your pop of color. It's almost like a pop of pink. So I'm excited to see what this looks like on the white. Here's it on the black. So I don't know if you guys can tell, it's kind of, the lighting maybe doesn't show it as well, but it is kind of like a pale pink, and I think it'll even be more pinky on this white. So awesome! All right, thank you guys for joining me here again. Here we go, pretty far. And I kind of like looking at the back because that gives a good impression of the colors. Again, not really the stitch size, but you do get to see the colors and stuff really nicely. So I'm excited. Let's get as far as we can on that bow tomorrow. It's kind of a big bow. I don't know if we'll finish it all, but that would be awesome. Then we just have the web and the spider to do. That is a day's worth tops. So yeah, I think one more day, if we can squeeze in next week one day of this, I think we'll have it done, along with taking off the stick and stitch stabilizer, that sticker that we're stitching through. So we'll try and do the Aurifil block as quickly as possible. I think it'll go, maybe 3 days, I'm guessing. But if we could have Thursday and Friday for to finish this up and then to play around with that Tyranno dress-up pattern, that would be fun. So that's my goal. That's my goal for next week. So I will see you on YouTube tomorrow on location in the craft room. If I am on from my mom's craft room there, I will try and see if I can show the granny square quilt. I'll hold it up so we can take a look at that, my mom's granny square quilt, because I'd love to share with you guys too, if she lets me. So all right, I will see you tomorrow. Have a great evening. Good night.